If you're currently shopping for an ultra-wide gaming monitor, you probably know the feeling. The specs just look identical, don't they? It's like a minefield of acronyms. And trying to figure out which one gives you better value, it can feel impossible when they all promise, 180 hertz and super fast response times.
Yeah.
Welcome to Tech Talk Central. I'm Nathan, and joining me for this deep dive into the curved display comparison wars is our expert.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the video. Our mission today is to really unpack two very competitive 34-inch ultra-wide gaming monitors. We've got the ASUS TUF VG34VQ3B and the MSI MAG 346CQ. And instead of just, reading off a spec sheet, we're aiming to help you quickly figure out which set of features, which kind of philosophy maybe offers better value for your specific setup.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We've got two monitors here, clearly direct rivals. And it seems like the core specifications, the things that define this category, they're pretty much standardized now. So what are those shared baseline specs? The ones that mean maybe you can stop comparing raw performance and just focus purely on the features.
Yeah, it's actually fascinating how standardized that high-end baseline has become. If we connect this to the bigger picture, both monitors really prove that neither is a slouch. They both hit those key performance marks.
Okay, lay it out for us. What's the common ground here?
Right. First, they're both 34-inch ultra-wide panels. That immersive 21.9 aspect ratio. They both share the UWQHD resolution. That's ultra-wide quad high definition, 3440 by 1440 pixels. So lots of screen real estate.
Right.
And crucially for gamers, the speed is matched.
How so? What are we talking about speed-wise?
Both deliver an ultra-fast 180 hertz refresh rate, and they both boast that rapid 1 meters response time, specifically listed as MPRT.
MPRT. Okay, we should probably touch on that.
Yeah, good point. MPRT stands for Moving Picture Response Time. It's measured using backlight strobing, which helps reduce the perceived motion blur, and that's actually a key feature we'll see ASUS lean into quite heavily later. And finally, both units use a 1500 arc curvature. That curve ensures every point on the screen is sort of equidistant to your eye. Plus, they both support adaptive sync or FreeSync premium to handle screen tearing.
Okay, so the message to you, the listener, is pretty clear then. Size, resolution, raw speed, identical. You can probably stop worrying about that baseline performance comparison.
Right.
So here's where it gets really interesting, right? We need to look at the proprietary features, the connectivity, the ergonomics. That's what's going to separate them. Let's start with the ASUS TUF VG34VQ3B. This one, it feels like it's fighting the battle more on maybe speed and utility.
Exactly. Yeah, the ASUS unit feels geared a bit more towards the, let's say, competitive gamer or maybe the prosumer who wants maximum desk utility. Their core differentiator seems to be motion clarity, which ties right back into that one-must MPRT spec we just mentioned. ASUS includes something called extreme low motion blur, or ELMB SYNC technology.
ELMB SYNC. Okay, that's a mouthful. But we need to know the trade-off. Is there one? Doesn't getting ultra-low motion blur usually mean you sacrifice brightness or sometimes get, like, reverse ghosting artifacts?
That's a really great question, and it kind of speaks to the sophistication of this specific implementation, or at least the claim. ELMB SYNC is the software that allows that motion blur reduction to work simultaneously with adaptive sync or FreeSync premium. See, the older tech often made you choose, get anti-blur or anti-tearing. ASUS claims this syncs them up to eliminate ghosting and tearing together. The sources do note it's best for fast-paced games and works better above 85 hertz, so keep that in mind. But yeah, it's a top priority if you're obsessed with the cleanest possible image during really rapid movement.
Okay, interesting. What about picture quality and usability outside of just pure speed? What else does ASUS bring?
Well, on the color front, ASUS is quite specific. It states it covers 90% of the DCI-P3 color gamut. Now, DCI-P3, that's a color space often used in digital cinema, professional content creation, so hitting 90% is a strong promise. It suggests good contrast, lifelike colors, maybe suitable for some light creative work alongside gaming.
Yeah, that 90% DCI-P3 definitely targets maybe streamers or content creators, not just pure gamers.
It seems that way. They also include a couple of quality of life features. First is shadow boost technology. That clarifies the dark areas in a game without overexposing the bright spots. Classic feature for spotting enemies hiding in shadows,
Right, standard stuff, but useful.
And the second is their Display Widget Center software. This lets you change all the monitor settings using your mouse instead of fiddling with the physical buttons on the monitor itself.
Ah, the OSD, the on-screen display buttons, the bane of monitor users everywhere, those tiny, fiddly buttons, usually hidden on the back. But are we just trading physical button pain for, like, software driver pain? Does that Display Widget Center actually work well? Is it reliable?
Well, we can only really go by the product claim here, which is that it significantly streamlines the experience. It definitely removes the need to fumble behind the screen, which, for many people is a massive ergonomic win, even if there might be occasional software quirks. But I think the biggest utility win for the ASUS unit is probably connectivity.
Okay, tell us about the ports and maybe peace of mind like warranty.
Right. The ASUS VG34VQ3B is specific. 2 HDMI 2.0 ports, 2 DisplayPort 1.2 ports, pretty standard. But here's the major functional win. It includes a dedicated built-in USB hub, 4 USB ports total. Yeah, so the monitor can act as the connection point for your keyboard, mouse, webcam. Helps declutter the desk setup quite a bit. Plus, it comes with a generous 3-year warranty and a significant bonus. 3 months of complimentary access to Adobe Creative Cloud, valid until August 2026, apparently.
Wow, okay.
The only stand adjustment mentioned is tilt, though, just plus 23 to negative 5 degrees. But it is VESA compatible if you want to use your own arm.
That connectivity package, the USB hub, plus the Adobe bonus, that certainly adds some perceived value there. Okay, so we've established ASUS is focusing on speed, color clarity, desktop utility. Now let's switch gears. MSI takes a different path with the MAG346CQ. What distinct advantages does MSI bring to the table here?
Yeah, MSI seems to focus its value proposition more heavily on, let's say, display technology optimization and comfort, prioritizing the visual experience and maybe the out-of-the-box ergonomics. First off, they explicitly state the panel type. It uses a VA panel.
Yeah, VA.
And that confirmation is useful because VA panels are generally known for having superior native contrast ratios, better blacks, and often excellent screen brightness compared to many IPS alternatives.
Right, so if you're playing those really cinematic games or maybe just watching movies, that native contrast could make the dark scenes look, well, truly dark. That's a definite visual plus. Now, how do they handle clarity features? ASUS had Shadow Boost and that ELMB SYNC. What's MSI's answer for image processing?
So MSI introduces a technology they call AI vision.
AI vision.
Yeah, and it's positioned as maybe a step beyond just simple shadow enhancement like Shadow Boost. AI vision is apparently driven by algorithms that not only reveal details in dark areas which help spot enemies like Shadow Boost, but also enhance overall brightness and saturate colors dynamically across the whole image.
That sounds a little bit like marketing speak, doesn't it?
AI vision.
Is it just an aggressive processing filter maybe? Or does it genuinely make games pop visually without adding noticeable input lag?
That definitely raises an important question. We don't have, objective third-party tests comparing its real-world effect versus latency right here. However, the claim is that it offers a broader, more impactful visual enhancement by adjusting contrast and color saturation in real time. So for a listener who maybe prioritizes vibrancy and really punchy colors over achieving the absolute minimum motion blur, this could be a distinct selling point.
Okay. And they also address eye comfort, I think.
Yes, that's right. MSI includes less blue light, which is a software solution to reduce blue light emission, and also anti-flicker features. These are pretty standard features now, sure, but they're essential for a better long-term viewing experience, especially during those marathon gaming sessions we all sometimes fall into.
Definitely. Okay, this brings us to potentially a major point of physical difference. What about the stand itself? We noted the ASUS only had tilt adjustment. For long gaming sessions, the physical setup is pretty critical.
Yes. And this is, I think, a massive ergonomic differentiator for the MSI MAG346CQ. While the ASUS only mentions tilt, the MSI monitor is explicitly listed as supporting both tilt and height-adjustable mounting, right out of the box, alongside being VESA mountable, of course.
Head adjustability.
Included. And for you, the gamer who uses the monitor on a standard desk, maybe without investing in an expensive aftermarket monitor arm, having that height adjustability as standard, it's almost non-negotiable for proper posture and, frankly, ergonomic health.
Non-negotiable is probably the right word there. If you can't get the center of that big screen to eye level easily, you're just asking for neck and back strain. That's a substantial value add right in the box.
Absolutely. It saves you money and hassle later. The MSI unit is also listed as HDR ready, likely using that VA panel's native contrast advantage to enhance details through contrast and shadow adjustments when it receives an HDR signal.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. We have two excellent 34-inch monitors. They have the same performance ceiling, 180 hertz, 1 meters MPRT. How do we synthesize this for the person trying to choose? Since we don't have a live price right now, we have to judge value based purely on these included features and those quality of life improvements. Give us the final so what based on what someone might prioritize.
Right. If we connect all these features back to your specific needs as a user, the decision actually becomes surprisingly clear, despite how similar they look on that spec sheet initially. You should probably choose the ASUS, the VG34VQ3B, if your priorities are, let's say, pure competitive speed, maybe advanced desk organization, and potentially dual-purpose functionality. So that means prioritizing the ELMB SYNC working alongside Adaptive Sync for that motion clarity, prioritizing the superior color clarity possibly guaranteed by that 90% DCI-P3 spec, and definitely prioritizing the robust connectivity of the built-in USB hub. The ASUS choice feels like it's for the person who needs their monitor to be a kind of command center, not just a display.
Okay. And what if that user values, say, physical comfort and maximizing visual punch above all else?
Then you should probably choose the MSI, the MEG346CQ. If you prioritize superior ergonomics specifically, that included height adjustability right out of the box. Or if you prioritize the high native contrast you typically get from a VA panel, and maybe you're intrigued by that specialized AI-driven image processing via AI vision for potentially more saturated colors and enhanced brightness. This choice seems ideal for the immersive gamer, maybe casual or competitive, who's focused purely on the display quality itself and maximizing their physical comfort as standard.
What stands out to you personally as maybe the single most compelling piece of value here? Because for the listener, it really does seem to come down to prioritizing connectivity versus comfort, doesn't it? The USB hub on the ASUS solves a real cable management headache.
Yeah.
But the height adjustment on the MSI prevents a literal physical headache, potentially.
I agree. I think given how much quality monitor arms can cost, the inclusion of height adjustability as standard on the MSI, that saves the user potentially significant secondary costs and hassle. That's huge. However, that ASUS package, the 3-year warranty, the Adobe CC bonus, that does suggest a certain brand confidence that's also pretty hard to ignore. It really is a battle between, physical ergonomics built in versus external utility and maybe warranty peace of mind. If we just quickly connect this back to the bigger picture again, both monitors really do offer top-tier performance for UWQHD gaming. They prove that 180 Hz and 1 meters are pretty much the new baseline standard in this high-end ultra-wide category now.
Okay, so a final provocative thought for you to maybe explore on your own. Given the listing dates, the MSI monitor apparently listed in April 2025 versus the ASUS back in July 2024, consider how that subtle difference in their proprietary smart features. MSI's AI vision focusing on brightness and saturation versus ASUS ALMB, SYNC, and Shadow Boost focusing more on speed and spotting enemies. Does that maybe reflect evolving priorities in gaming tech over just those 9 months? Is technology shifting perhaps from just raw speed towards more smart AI-driven visual enhancement? Something to think about. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. If you enjoyed this breakdown, if you want more technical comparisons like this, be sure to subscribe to Tech Talk Central.
And to find the latest prices and deals on these monitors, be sure to check out the links we'll put in the description below. Thank you for joining us.